On April 15, 2022, the Port of Long Beach buzzed with pre-dawn activity. Cranes swinging containers, patrol boats skimming the water, forklifts weaving through cargo stacks. Two dusty pallets marked used furniture rolled ashore, hiding 1.5 tons of pure Colombian cocaine worth $118 million. Yet when federal agents swarmed in, scanning codes and deploying canine dogs, they found only flawless wooden decoys. No drugs, no suspects, no leads. It was the opening move in a trafficking network so daring it stunned investigators. And its mastermind was none other than 29-year-old Jason Collins, heir to a storied LA law enforcement legacy. Before I walk you through the full story, I just have a small favor to ask. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? It's always amazing to see how far this audience is reaching. Jason's childhood bore all the hallmarks of a golden pedigree. His father, Richard Collins, rose through the ranks of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department to become its deputy commissioner, a man known for integrity, long service medals, and an unshakable belief that the law could make the world a better place. His mother, Elaine, managed community outreach programs, forging alliances with neighborhood watch groups and local charities. Jason grew up on tennis courts, summer camps, and the comfortable security of private schools. He excelled academically, played cricket at Phillips Exeter Academy, and was poised for a career in business or public service. Yet the idealism of youth could not inoculate him against the financial devastation that struck his family in 2020. As the COVID-19 pandemic swept through California, restaurants closed, hotels shuttered, and Collins Signs and Graphics, the family's 20-year-old business, found itself bleeding revenue. Orders for hotel marquees and restaurant awnings evaporated overnight. Richard, battling chest pains and a serious COVID infection, fell gravely ill. Bankruptcies loomed. The once proud Collins household discovered itself drowning in debt. Faced with the collapse of everything he'd known, Jason made a fateful decision. In January 2021, he mortgaged the family home and scraped together $150,000 in savings to launch Real Estate Removals LLC, positioning it as a premium moving service for high-end clientele. He leased a downtown Los Angeles warehouse, bought 3 aging box trucks, and hired a skeletal crew. Logistics expert Michael Jenkins, veteran driver Connor Fletcher, and a small cadre of office staff oblivious to what lay beneath the floorboards. He rebranded his fleet with sleek, white-glove decals and pitched discreet, white-glove service to real estate agents, marketing multi-million-dollar listings. At first, business boomed. Commissions flowed, trucks hauled designer furniture to Silicon Beach and Beverly Hills, and Real Estate Removals built a sterling reputation for reliability. But the pandemic's economic toll proved unrelenting. Utility bills for the warehouse soared, GPS subscriptions ran thousands per quarter, and the cost of payroll drained reserves. To cope, Jason leaned on a prescription for tramadol, first prescribed legitimately for back pain, then abused as he struggled through 18-hour days without sleep. The opiate numbed more than his physical discomfort. It dulled the lines between desperation and opportunism. In early 2022, a shadowy figure approached Jason with an offer he rationalized as a lifeline. $50,000 to transport a special cargo marked as fine art. Husbanding his last vestiges of caution, he agreed, telling himself he was merely the logistics expert, the safe pair of hands entrusted with priceless artifacts. When the shipment arrived at his warehouse, he and Jenkins discovered dozens of brick-shaped bundles concealed within epoxy-coated containers. A quick test confirmed the unthinkable. The packages were pure cocaine. The rush of that first run proved intoxicating. Within weeks, Jason demanded more artwork shipments, each payday eclipsing his struggling moving profits. He oversaw the installation of custom false floors and hydraulic-activated panels in his trucks, each concealed space capable of holding up to 200 kilograms of narcotics without altering a vehicle's handling. He compartmentalized his workforce. Fletcher and Jenkins manned the illicit side, Sadiq handled funding, and the office clerks continued booking furniture moves with no inkling of the lethal payloads sharing their routes. Payments funneled through offshore shell accounts. Messages passed via self-erasing encrypted apps. Burner phones rotated after every run. By summer, drug revenues comprised 80% of company income. Real houses moved alongside cocaine shipments. The clients who welcomed Jason's white glove service had no idea they were mere cover for an interstate felony enterprise. Jason's operation evolved rapidly into a sprawling West Coast network. Interstate 5, I-10, and I-15 became his trafficking arteries. Routes meticulously planned to avoid law enforcement choke points. Fletcher's weekend ritual exemplified their precision. A Friday night departure from Los Angeles, a silent crossing into Tijuana for pickup at a discreet safe house, and a Sunday return through the San Diego border when inspection lines lengthened with returning vacationers. Jenkins monitored real-time Border Patrol deployments via insider police scanners, rerouting shipments around enforcement surges. Sadiq, operating from an unlisted cell number, laundered millions by routing proceeds through Mexican peso exchanges, converting cash into travelers' checks, and funneling funds into shell charities across Central America. So seamless was their concealment that a January 2022 interception of 63 kilograms of cocaine at San Diego's port, a routine X-ray triggered by an automated weight discrepancy alert, barely dented Jason's confidence. Rather than dismantling the network, he saw the seizure as an occupational hazard. He upgraded his concealments, dual-layer false floors, spare tire compartments, and climate-controlled crates to mask canine detection. He refined load balancing to eliminate telltale shifts in suspension and installed industrial odor neutralizers to confound chemical sensors. Meanwhile, the legitimate moving side financed these enhancements. High-margin residential contracts paid for warehouse renovations, GPS upgrades, and professional marketing campaigns. To the outside world, real estate removals was a struggling yet ambitious family business that had found its niche amid a disrupted market. Within, it was a multi-million-dollar trafficking machine. Jason Collins at its helm, a former golden boy turned cartel courier, using his father's name as a shield against suspicion. By spring 2022, real estate removals fleet had grown from 3 trucks to 8, each meticulously retrofitted for maximum concealment. Warehouse bays in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Phoenix bustled with what appeared to be furniture loading: swivel chairs, marble-top tables, antique armoires. Yet beneath these innocuous cargoes lay hundreds of kilograms of cocaine. Drivers circled neighborhoods twice to avoid surveillance, then veered onto desert highways under cover of darkness. Jason oversaw every detail from his private office: security camera feeds, encrypted route logs, and nightly debriefs with Michael Jenkins via a voice-scrambled app. Unbeknownst to Jason, however, federal investigators were closing in. After the January seizure in San Diego, Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, had linked the intercepted pallets to real estate removals container manifests. Joint task force teams from HSI, the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, and U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, launched Operation Freightfall in February 2022. Analysts combed telephone toll records, pinpointing a cluster of unregistered burner phones used by Jason and his core team. Surveillance warrant affidavits drew a pattern. Every large cocaine seizure corresponded to suffixes on real estate removals load numbers, suffixes only Jason could authorize. Undercover agents posed as eager clients seeking highly discreet moving services for cross-country home relocations. At the Los Angeles warehouse in mid-March, an agent named Karen Wallace booked a diplomatic transport to Scottsdale, Arizona. 3 days later, 2 DEA agents watched through binoculars as a late-model box truck, decked in real estate removals livery, was loaded with what appeared to be Persian rugs and burgundy leather sofas. When the truck departed, CBP surveillance teams followed at a safe distance. On April 15, the date that would echo alongside Port of Long Beach, the undercover truck passed through the Otay Mesa crossing. Contrary to protocol, the driver, Connor Fletcher, ignored standard CBP routing and requested a secondary inspection in a seldom-used lot. HSI agents, tipped by the undercover operation, lay in wait. As Fletcher opened the hydraulic floor panel, they swooped in. Cameras wheeled overhead, captured Fletcher's stunned expression as bundles of cocaine tumbled into view. He was cuffed on the spot. Agents secured nearly 60 kilograms of 95% pure powder, valued at $4.5 million wholesale. His frantic phone contained messages to Jason: "Pickup delayed, send Jenkins ASAP," and a GPS snapshot of the drop zone coordinates. Fletcher initially invoked the fifth, refusing to name names. But within 48 hours, under the weight of forensic evidence, fingerprints on the hydraulic panel, load ticket handwriting that matched Jason's unique slant, and metadata from a seized burner phone, he began cooperating. The task force extracted the phone's deleted call logs, encrypted texts confirming shipments, maps with waypoint coordinates, and photos of custom-fabricated floor compartments. Fletcher agreed to a controlled delivery. The next shipment, scheduled for early May, would proceed under surveillance, allowing agents to identify co-conspirators and loading locations. On May 3rd, agents watched as a real estate removals truck arrived at a midtown Los Angeles warehouse. Jenkins and Sadiq appeared in separate vehicles. Fletcher, under controlled delivery instructions, activated the false floor switch. Agents burst in, seizing 80 kilograms of cocaine and 6 loaded firearms. Jenkins was arrested at the scene. Sadiq attempted to flee in a nondescript sedan, but crashed after spike strips disabled his tires. He was taken into custody a block away, hauling suitcases stuffed with drug proceeds. Inside Jason's private office, Karen Wallace had delivered her faux contract paperwork just minutes earlier. Armed agents converged on the facility as Fletcher's controlled delivery unfolded. They stormed Jason's office, catching him mid-phone call. His veneer of disbelief cracked when a team member brandished the seizure documents. He was handcuffed without resistance. Agents recovered 3 burner phones, each containing encrypted contacts linking back to Colombia, and blueprints for the next month's concealment upgrades, including dual floor compartments and improved odor filtration. Across 3 simultaneous raids in Los Angeles, Phoenix, and San Francisco, task force officers executed search warrants on satellite offices. They seized servers hosting dispatch software, financial records showing $135 million laundered through shell companies, and detailed logs of every shipment since January. Real estate removals trucks were impounded, warehouses shuttered, company bank accounts frozen. Publicly, the bust made headlines. Ex-cops' son runs $135 million cocaine empire. Moving trucks turned into drug carousels, and violent cartel supplies routed under lawful guise. Fletcher, Jenkins, and Sadiq pleaded guilty in federal court to conspiracy, drug trafficking, and money laundering, earning sentences ranging from 12 to 27 years. Jason Collins faced the most severe charges: mastermind of an international distribution network. His defense attorneys argued diminished capacity due to addiction and financial duress. Prosecutors countered with the orchestrated, sustained nature of his crimes and the calculated betrayals of his father's law enforcement legacy. The federal trial of Jason Collins commenced on July 11, 2023, in the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California. The packed courtroom thrummed with media, law enforcement observers, and stunned family members. At the defense table, Jason, once a polished entrepreneur, appeared gaunt, his eyes rimmed with exhaustion. He wore a dark suit, his hands cuffed to the table, and offered only a faint nod when his name was called. His father, Deputy Commissioner Richard Collins, sat in the front row, his face a study in controlled anguish. Assistant U.S. Attorney Marisol Vega opened with a meticulous timeline: the inception of real estate removals in January 2021, the pivot to cocaine shipments in early 2022, and the staggering volume, over 1.5 tons smuggled through legitimate-looking moving jobs. She presented 47 pieces of evidence: seized narcotics and weapons, 143 kilograms of cocaine, and 6 firearms found during controlled deliveries and warehouse raids. Vehicle modifications, photographs and schematics of custom false floors, hydraulic panels, and odor filtration vents installed in 8 trucks. Financial records, bank statements showing $135 million laundered through 9 shell companies, offshore accounts in Belize and Cyprus, and consulting fees deposited under aliases. Communications, decrypted text from burner phones coordinating pickups, drop zone maps, and photos of concealed compartments. Witness testimony, video recorded confessions from drivers Connor Fletcher and Michael Jenkins, detailing the mechanics of each run and identifying Jason as the boss who paid the bills. Vega painted Jason as a calculating trafficker who weaponized his family's good name to evade suspicion. He knew precisely how to exploit every trust, she declared. He used his father's badge as a shield and turned his company into a cartelist empire. Lead defense counsel Robert Estrada countered with a portrait of a desperate young man driven to extremes by financial ruin and opioid dependency. He called as witnesses Dr. Elaine Morris, a clinical psychologist, who testified to Jason's tramadol addiction, chronic insomnia, and impaired decision-making. Richard Collins, who took the stand reluctantly, describing the family's near bankruptcy, his own health crisis with COVID-19, and the strain on family bonds. "My son was losing everything," Richard said, voice breaking. He felt cornered. Jason's mother, who spoke of her son's early promise and pleaded for mercy, arguing that incarceration would break what remained of the family. Estrada conceded that Jason crossed a line he should never have crossed, but urged the jury to weigh context. A son trying to rescue his family, not a bloodthirsty cartel lieutenant. "His crimes were heinous," Estrada said, "but they sprang from desperation, not a thirst for violence." After 5 days of testimony and 2 days of jury deliberation, the verdict arrived on July 20th. Guilty on all counts of conspiracy to distribute 5 kilograms or more of cocaine, money laundering, and use of a firearm in furtherance of drug trafficking. The courtroom fell silent, save for the soft whir of cooling cameras. Sentencing took place on October 3, 2023. U.S. District Judge Lisa Brenner, noting the scale and sophistication of the operation, imposed Jason Collins, 30 years in federal prison, 3 years supervised release, and mandatory forfeiture of $200 million in assets. Michael Jenkins, 15 years, 2 years supervised release. Connor Fletcher, 12 years, 2 years supervised release. Humayun Sadiq, 27 years, 3 years supervised release. Judge Brenner's pronouncement was unambiguous. Mr. Collins betrayed every value you father taught you. You weaponized family legacy for profit, endangering communities nationwide. Your sentence must reflect the gravity of your deception. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one.